The bright lights of Orion Systems headquarters blinked like stars across the metal glass walls. Inside, hundreds of people moved through wide halls filled with glowing screens and floating drones. It was Earth's most powerful tech company, known for building starship engines and planetary defense systems. Today, a new face walked through the main entrance. Dr. Mira Callan was sharp, confident, and well-prepared. She wore a gray suit, her long black hair tied in a neat bun. In her hands was a digital folder containing her research data that got her this job. This was her first day as project leader of a new tech team. It was a big step. Her job was to help create systems that would protect Earth from space dangers, asteroids, solar storms, or maybe something else. She didn't know yet how big the job really was. Myra entered the elevator and pressed level 22. As she looked around, she noticed a man already inside. He stood near the corner, wearing a plain dark shirt, sleeves rolled up, holding a data pad. His hair was messy, and he didn't look like a manager. Probably a worker or a new intern. He smiled politely. "First day?" he asked in a calm voice. "Yes," Myra replied with a small smile. "Dr. Mira Callan, project lead for SHIELD Tech Division." "Welcome," the man said. "You'll like it here." The elevator doors opened. She walked out, and the man followed her. "Are you assigned to SHIELD Tech too?" she asked him. He shrugged. "Something like that." She looked at his badge, but it was turned backward. Still sure he was an intern, she held out her coffee cup. "Here," she said. "Can you take this to Lab Room B while I meet with the admin team?" He paused, then took the cup. "Sure," he replied without arguing. "Thank you," Myra said, already walking off. "And make sure the team logs in their biometrics." The rest of the morning passed quickly. Myra met with team members, got access to her workspaces, and reviewed some old files. There were strange notes in the energy readings, anomalies in the planetary shield codes. She frowned. The errors looked like someone had edited the system at night. After lunch, she walked into Lab Room B. To her surprise, the intern was already there, sitting quietly near the data wall, watching code scroll by on a holographic screen. Her coffee cup sat on the table, untouched. "Still here?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "I thought I'd stay and observe," he replied simply. "Your team has potential, but the code in Sector 14 is too open. A smart hacker could slip in." Myra blinked. That was exactly what she had thought earlier. She walked over and looked at the screen. He had already marked the same weak points she found. "You understand this code?" she asked, surprised. "I've seen similar models," he said. "This one is cleaner, good work." Something about him was strange. He spoke like someone with deep experience, yet he acted like an assistant, quiet and helpful. Maybe he was an intern from another department who just happened to know more. "Did you study defense systems?" she asked. "A little," he said, not explaining further. Before she could ask more, one of the engineers entered the room. "Dr. Callan, the security chief needs your retinal scan in the vault," she said. "I'll be back," Myra said. She turned to the man. "And thank you again. What was your name?" "Cade," he said. "All right, Cade. Try not to break anything." Later that evening, as the labs grew quiet, Cade remained inside Room B. The lights dimmed, and hidden projectors showed star maps across the ceiling. He walked to the corner, placed his hand on a black wall panel, and whispered, "Override." Rel Sigma. The wall opened silently. Inside was a secret terminal only a few people in the world had access to. Cade Rel was not an intern. He was Director Cade Rel, head of Earth's interstellar security programs. He answered only to the Global Council and the Orion Board. Most people never saw him. He preferred it that way. He had chosen to come in disguise today, wearing normal clothes and using no formal title. He wanted to see who Myra really was without her knowing who he was. and she had passed his first test. Cade reviewed hidden alerts on the screen. A red symbol blinked. Foreign code detected. Something or someone had tried to access Earth's shield system through Orion's mainframe. The data attack was quiet and clever, but not human. The energy signature was not Earth-based. Cade narrowed his eyes. The alien threat they feared might already be here. In her own new office, Mira sat at her desk, tired but focused. She typed notes, reviewing what the intern had said earlier. Cade, she whispered, knows too much for an intern. She opened the Orion employee directory. There was no intern named Cade listed on her team. She searched the name, Cade, plus Orion Systems. Access denied. Strange. Only high-level names were protected like that. Who was he? The next morning, Mira walked into the top floor of Orion Systems. She had seen more strange patterns in the code and wanted to talk to someone in command. Maybe even the director. The elevator rose silently to level 1, a place she wasn't even supposed to access without escort. The doors opened. She stepped into a wide, dark room filled with glowing maps of Earth and nearby star systems. Several men and women in military uniforms stood around a long table. In the center, sitting calmly in a black chair, was the intern. Cade, he looked up. Their eyes met. Dr. Callan, he said with a small smile. Please come in. The others stepped aside. One of the officers nodded to him. Director Rell, shall we begin the briefing? Mira stared, frozen. Cade gave her a calm, respectful nod. It's time you knew the truth. Dr. Mira Callan stood silently in the room, her eyes wide. The same man she had handed coffee to yesterday was now sitting in a high-tech command chair, surrounded by the most powerful people in Earth's security system, Director Cade Rell. The name echoed in her mind. She had heard it once in a secret file back in her academy days, a name tied to defense programs, alien warnings, and classified science that no one ever talked about in public. Cade stood up slowly and walked toward her. The others in the room gave him space, showing quiet respect. Mira, he said calmly, please sit. We have much to discuss. Still shocked, Mira sat down at the long table. The glowing screens above showed a spinning globe, Earth's orbit, and a bright red symbol blinking near the moon's path. This is not just a tech company, is it? She asked quietly. Cade gave a small nod. Orion Systems is more than that. Yes, we build defense shields and ships, but we also act as Earth's first line of protection against things the public doesn't know about yet. Things like aliens? She asked. Exactly, Cade replied. Some friendly, most not. He tapped the small screen, and a strange wave pattern appeared. It pulsed like a heartbeat, but it wasn't human. This signal came through our outer system scanners 4 days ago, he explained. It's not natural. It matches the energy patterns of a species we hoped never to meet again. The Valikar, an officer added. They nearly wiped out a colony ship 15 years ago. Mira leaned forward. Why now? Because of Project Aegis, Cade said. You've heard of it? Yes, she answered. It's a planetary shield system, right? High-orbit defense, energy netting, fusion-linked. That's what the public file says, Cade said. But Aegis is more than a shield. It's also a sensor, a beacon, that can detect any non-human technology within a light year. And the Valikar don't want us to activate it. So they're trying to stop it? She asked. They've already begun, Cade said grimly. Someone tried to enter Aegis Systems 2 nights ago. You noticed the code error in Sector 14. That was the first attempt. Myra remembered it clearly now. She had fixed it, thinking it was a glitch. Cade looked at her. You stopped their first breach without knowing it. That's why I let you believe I was an intern. I needed to observe you, see how you think. And I was impressed. Myra blinked, trying to keep up. So, what do we do now? We find the intruder, Cade said firmly. There's a Valakar agent here, inside Orion Systems. Disguised, possibly using clone DNA or tech to look human. And we have only a few days left before Aegis goes fully online. He paused, then looked into her eyes. I want you to help me catch them. Back in the engineering section, things seemed normal. Screens blinked, drones hummed, and people moved quickly between labs. But now, Mira saw everything differently. One of them could be the enemy. She walked beside Cade down a hidden corridor that connected the top levels to the labs below. The walls were smooth steel, with cameras hidden behind the panels. Only top. Command used this route. I still don't understand, she said. Why me? I'm not a soldier or a spy. I'm just a scientist. A smart one, Cade replied. And the Valakar know it too. That's why they're watching your team closely. You're working on the final layer of the Aegis system, the fusion relay. If that fails, the whole shield falls. He handed her a small device. It looked like a normal wristwatch. This is a sensor. It'll scan people near you for non-human energy signatures. But it won't work on machines or AI. The Valakar are organic. That's their weakness. Mira slipped it on. The display showed a calm green line. What if I find the spy? She asked. Alert me right away, he said. Do not engage alone. They're fast and deadly. But they won't attack unless they're cornered. They prefer stealth. Later. That evening, Mira joined her team in Lab Room B. No one acted strange. People joked, shared results, and worked on final code lines. But she watched them carefully now. The wrist sensor stayed green. One engineer, Rin Talon, waved at her double quotes. Dr. Callan, I optimized the reactor link today. You might want to review it. Thanks, she said, walking over to check. Rin was calm, friendly, and helpful. Nothing seemed wrong. She moved across the room. Another technician, Darnell, nodded to her. She noticed something. His workstation was turned slightly, facing away from the rest. His hands moved fast on the keyboard. She walked closer. The wrist sensor blinked -yellow. Myra froze. Darnell, she said carefully, can I see the power readings from your segment? He turned slowly. His face was calm, but his eyes, something in them felt off, cold, not afraid, not curious. Just watching, of course, Dr. Callan, he said. I've already sent the logs to your datapad. She stepped back, checking her wrist again. The light stayed yellow for a second, then faded to green. Cade's voice whispered in her ear through the comlink. I saw it. Keep your distance. Don't spook him. Myra nodded slightly and walked back to her desk. Her fingers moved fast as she wrote a fake report, pretending to be busy, but her heart was racing. They had found him. Later in the private strategy room, Cad stood beside her, reviewing the hidden footage. Darnell moved like a human, spoke like one, and even passed biometric scans, but when slowed down, his reflection didn't match. His eye movement and facial heat signature were wrong. That's our spy, Cade confirmed. Tomorrow we trap him. Myra looked uneasy. He's working right beside us. He knows everything. Yes, Cade said, but he doesn't know we know. They stared at the screen, where Darnell walked down the hall, completely unaware. The real mission had just begun. The next morning, Dr. Mira Callan stepped into the lab with a calm face, but inside, her thoughts raced. She now knew that Darnell, one of her own engineers, was not human. The sensor on her wrist had picked up his energy signal. He was the Valakar, spy hiding inside Orion Systems. She looked around the lab. Everyone was busy. Screens showed shield data and test results. Drones moved quietly through the room. Darnell sat at his usual corner, typing on his panel. He looked up and gave a friendly nod. She nodded back, forcing a smile. Act normal, Cade's voice whispered in her ear through the secret earpiece. We begin the trap in 10 minutes. Just follow the plan. Myra took a deep breath. The plan was simple. Distract Darnell, delay his exit from the lab, and allow the security AI to scan him fully. But it had to be quiet. If he felt threatened, he might escape or worse, attack. She walked to his station. "Morning, Darnell," she said. "I was thinking about your code from yesterday. There's something I'd like to go over with you." "Of course, Doctor," he replied with a calm smile. "Always happy to help." She handed him a small data drive. "Can you run this through the pulse simulator? I think there's a timing issue." He took the drive and turned to the nearby machine. Mira slowly stepped back and checked her wrist sensor. Flashing yellow again. In the corner of the lab, a small cleaning drone passed by. It blinked twice, a signal from Cade. The trap was ready. Suddenly, the lights in the lab flickered. Power drop. "What's going on?" someone said. Another flicker. Then a hard buzzing sound shook the floor. In the same second, Darnell stood up, eyes glowing faintly. "It's begun," he said in a cold voice. Before anyone could react, he threw the simulator across the room and ran toward the exit door. But the doors sealed shut. Thick steel panels dropped from the ceiling with a loud crash. Red lights flashed across the lab. Security lockdown. Someone shouted. Darnell turned around, face twisted, now less human, more alien. His skin began to change. His arms grew longer. Sharp, dark veins glowed under his skin. People screamed and backed away. Mira stood frozen. She had seen pictures of Valakar before, but never this close. Then Cade entered. He stepped through a side door in full combat gear, light armor, gloves with energy nodes, and a glowing disc at his chest. "Everyone down!" he shouted. Darnell growled and leaped forward. Cade moved fast, too fast for a normal human. His gloves lit up and blasted a shockwave at the alien. Darnell flew back, crashing into a table. Cade reached into his belt and pulled out a small silver disc. He tossed it near the fallen spy. The disc opened like a flower, glowing blue, and released a containment field, a cage of energy that trapped Darnell inside. The creature screamed, trying to break free. But the field held strong. Mira watched in awe. In seconds, it was over. After the lab was cleared and all staff were safe, Mira and Cade stood in the special chamber where the Valakar was, now locked in a glass pod. He had returned to his alien form, gray-blue skin, sharp eyes, and twisted arms. "He was watching us the whole time," Mira said softly. "Working right beside me." Cade nodded. "Yes, the Valakar are masters of disguise. We believe he was planted here 6 months ago." "6 months?" she asked. "But why wait this long?" "They were waiting for Aegis to be near activation," Cade explained. "And once he got full system access, he would have disabled it from the inside." Mira stared at the creature inside the pod. He said, "It's begun." "What does that mean?" Cade looked serious. "It means more are coming." This was only the first. Later, in his private office, Cade sat behind his desk while Mira stood across from him. The walls were filled with star charts, ship designs, and images of Earth's orbit. A quiet hum filled the room from the computers working around the clock. "You were right," Cade said. "Your instincts about the code, your calm thinking during the lockdown, all of it shows you're ready for more." "More what?" Mira asked. "To join the real work," Cade said. "Beyond the labs, beyond the tech rooms. Earth's future depends on people who can think fast, act wisely, and lead." He tapped a screen, and her file appeared, now marked with a new symbol, Clearance Level 8. "You're officially promoted," Cade said. "Deputy Head of Aegis Development, reporting directly to me." Mira blinked. "That's unexpected." "You earned it," he replied. She looked at him. "Why didn't you tell me who you were from the beginning?" Cade smiled. "Because I wanted to see who you really were. Titles can scare people. But when you thought I was an intern, you were honest, focused, and strong. That's what matters." She couldn't help but smile a little. "So, you were testing me?" "Yes," Cade said. "And you passed." That night, Mira stood on the roof of the Orion building, looking up at the stars. The sky was clear, and Earth's orbit lines were glowing faintly on her datapad. She knew now that space was not empty. There were eyes watching, ships moving, and enemies planning. But she also knew that humanity was not alone in its defense. People like Cade, secret programs like Aegis, and minds like hers were part of something greater. From intern jokes to interstellar threats, the game had changed, and it was only the beginning. The next morning, the air inside Orion Systems felt different. Everyone in the SHIELD Tech Division continued their usual routines, but behind the scenes, everything had changed. The capture of the Valakar spy proved that Earth's defense system had a weak point and that the enemy was already here. Dr. Mira Callan walked beside Cade Rell through the hidden security floor. She had been officially promoted the night before, now carrying clearance level 8. For most of her life, she had worked in science labs. Now she was a part of Earth's secret defense war. They entered a darkened room filled with screens. A large table in the middle displayed Earth's orbit and the current SHIELD system progress. Only 3 days remained until the launch of Project Aegis, but now they had a bigger problem. The spy didn't come alone, Cade said, showing her the latest data. He was just a scout. A signal was sent before we caught him short and coded. We believe it warned the others. So more Valakar agents are coming? Mira asked. Yes, Cade replied. They might already be on their way, or they might already be here. Mira looked at the blinking red lights on the outer system screen. And Aegis? Aegis is nearly ready, Cade said. Your work on the fusion relay helped speed things up. But if the enemy attacks before it activates, we may not be able to stop them. He looked her in the eye. That's why I need you now more than ever. In the command room, a small team gathered for a secret briefing. Mira joined the top scientists and agents. A new face stood in the room, Admiral Turin Voss, commander of Earth's orbital fleet. He spoke firmly. We've confirmed an unidentified ship moving toward Earth system. It's using stealth tech, but we caught it near Jupiter. Mira leaned forward. How long before it gets here? 36 hours, Admiral Voss replied. But it could deploy smaller crafts any time, Cade stepped in. Our goal is clear. Keep Aegis safe until activation. If the Valakar destroy it before then, Earth will lose its detection grid. One of the analysts added, we believe the ship may be carrying a second infiltrator, possibly a more dangerous type. Mira felt a chill. The first spy had already caused chaos. What could a second one do? Cade turned to her. That's why I'm activating the inner defense shield around the lab sectors. You'll lead the final check on the fusion relay. I'll lead the intercept. Team, Mira nodded. Understood. Inside Lab C, Mira and her team worked fast. The fusion relay was the core of Aegis. It would power the shield, control the energy pulses, and link to the orbiting satellites. Her hands moved quickly across the panel. Lights blinked, numbers flowed across the screen, and drones brought in fresh parts. Almost there, she said. Beside her, Rin Talon adjusted the cooling chamber, power core holding steady. But Mira noticed something strange. One of the relay values was shifting slightly, only by decimals, but enough to cause worry. She checked the logs. Who last accessed this section? She asked. A junior engineer replied. It was auto-synced from the master server last night. Her eyes narrowed. That server was locked. Only Cade, her and 2 others had access. Or so they thought. Mira, Cade's voice came through the earpiece. We just lost visual on the alien ship. It disappeared behind Mars' shadow. What does that mean? She asked. It means the enemy is about to move. Just then, alarms began to ring. Red alert. The lights flickered, then turned. to emergency mode. Mira turned to the control panel. "What's going on?" a voice came over the system. "Unauthorized movement detected in sublevel 4. Breach in the vault hallway." Cade responded fast. "Seal all labs. Lock down the fusion relay room. Mira, stay in place." From her screen, Mira saw the security cams flickering. A figure moved fast through the sublevels, blurry and silent, avoiding cameras. It didn't walk, it glided, like smoke wrapped in armor. "Target is heading for the Aegis power node." An agent reported. Cade gave orders quickly. "Deploy drone guards. I'm going in." Mira watched as Cade's image appeared on her screen. He moved through the halls with silent steps, holding a pulse rifle. His body armor shimmered, blending into the walls. He reached the lower sector. The enemy was already there, a second Valakar infiltrator, larger, faster, and wearing a thick EXO-shell dot. It turned as Cade arrived. The two stared at each other for a long second. Then they attacked. Back in the lab, Mira stared at the screen. The fusion relay blinked, waiting for its final input. But without power from the lower node, activation would fail. "We need that power back," she said. She turned to Rin. "Can we reroute from the upper grid?" "It's risky," Rin said. "If we overload the path, it could blow the core." Mira's eyes stayed on the screen. "We don't have a choice." In the sublevel, Cade dodged a strike from the Valakar's sharp claws. His pulse rifle hit the enemy's chest, but the armor absorbed it. The alien moved like a shadow, fast and brutal. But Cade was ready. He activated his combat disc, and the floor lit up with a shock field. The alien froze for a moment, stunned, charged forward, striking with full force. The impact threw the alien into the wall, breaking part of its armor. Sparks flew. The creature roared. Cade pressed his wrist and called out, "Mira, reroute power now." Back in the lab, Mira gave the command, "Begin transfer." The lights blinked. Power surged through the lab. Screens flickered, then turned bright. "Core power stable," Rin said. "Shield relay online." The system buzzed. A glowing circle formed on the screen. Aegis node activated. Mira smiled in relief. "We did it." In the sublevel, Cade saw the shield node light up behind the glass walls. The alien turned toward the power core, trying to destroy it. But Cade moved faster. He grabbed a backup charge and threw it. The blast hit the alien square in the chest. The Valakar collapsed, body sparking and motionless. Cade breathed hard, then smiled. "We're still standing," he whispered. That night, Mira and Cade stood on the command deck, watching the sky. Aegis now shone in Earth's orbit, silent, strong, and awake. The Valakar had failed, but they would come again, and next time, humanity would be ready. Together. Earth's sky now held something new, a glowing line of light orbiting the planet. It was Project Aegis, the most powerful planetary defense shield ever built. The system was online, watching space for threats, ready to protect against danger. Deep inside Orion systems, the danger was not over. The Valakar had already sent 2 infiltrators. One had been captured. The other had been destroyed by Cade Rel after a deadly fight. But Dr. Mira Callan had a strong feeling that more secrets still waited to be discovered. And she was right. Early morning light filled the labs as engineers returned to their posts. People were tired but proud. Everyone believed the worst was over. But Mira noticed something strange. Security officers were quietly replacing scanners at every door. Cade entered her office with a serious look. "We have a new problem," he said. Mira stood up. "I thought the alien ship was gone." "It left," Cade said, "but before it vanished, it released something. A data burst. Not into space, but into our system." She blinked. "You mean, it sent a signal into Orion's network?" He nodded. "Yes, and that signal woke up something." He placed a tablet on the table and played a short video. It showed a man inside a quiet storage room. He stood still. Then, suddenly, he opened a hidden panel and pulled out a strange black device. He placed it into a system port. The video froze. "That's John Rexon," Cade said. "One of our mainframe engineers." "But I've worked with him," Myra said. "He's normal." "He was," Cade replied. "Until last night. That signal activated the device he had been hiding. We believe he's under control, possibly infected by alien tech." Later that day, Mira entered the main server room. The air was cold and the lights were dim. Her wrist sensor was active again, scanning for unusual energy. The room was empty, except for John Rexon. He stood near the main console, looking like he was just working. "John," she said calmly. He looked up and smiled. "Dr. Callan, morning." "Running." "Updates?" she asked. "Routine scans," he replied, voice steady. But her sensor blinked yellow. Her heart beat faster. "Mind if I check something?" He hesitated, then stepped aside. She walked toward the console and opened a side panel. Inside, she saw wires, normal wires, but among them was something else. A thin black thread, pulsing with faint blue light. Alien tech. She touched her cum. "Cade, I found it." John suddenly moved. He slammed the panel shut and turned toward her. His eyes glowed faintly. He was still human, but not fully in control. "I can't let you take it," he said. "John, stop," Mira said. "This isn't you." "I must complete the link," he said, voice deeper now. "The hive must see through Aegis." A sharp noise came from the wires, like static, but alive. Before John could attack, the door burst open. Cade entered with 2 security bots. In seconds, they surrounded John and hit him with a stun pulse. He collapsed to the floor, unconscious. Cade rushed to the panel and pulled out the black thread. "It's a neural tap," he said. It was sending images from Aegis back to the Valakar network. If we hadn't stopped it, they would have learned how to disable it. Mira stared at John's still body. "So they don't just send spies," she whispered. "They turn us into spies." John was moved to the secure medbay. He was alive, but sleeping, and his brain scans showed strange waves. The alien device had not fully taken him over, but the influence was strong. Mira sat beside Cade in the med observation room. "Can we save him?" she asked. "We'll try," Cade said. "But more importantly, we've learned something." He pointed to the screen showing the alien thread. "This is how they plan to win, not with ships, not with armies, but with corruption. Quiet, slow. From inside," Myra nodded. "Then we'll stop them from the inside, too." The next step was clear. Check the entire system for hidden tech. All labs, halls, and storage areas were scanned by bots with updated alien detection software. Myra joined one of the scanning teams herself. She wasn't just a scientist now, she was a guardian of Earth's future. Inside Storage Bay 7, her team found something unexpected. A small crate marked as scrap parts gave off a strange signal. They opened it and found 3 black cubes. Inside, at first, they looked like broken metal. But when touched, they began to hum. "These are data seeds," Myra said. "Alien memory cubes." Cade arrived quickly and scanned them. They were hiding these in plain sight, probably to build a communication array. If we hadn't found them, they could have turned Orion into a relay station, Myra finished. She picked up one of the cubes with special gloves. "Let's take these apart. Maybe we can learn from them too." That night, Cade and Mira sat in the observation tower, looking down at Earth. The stars above were peaceful, but they both knew what hid behind that. "Peace, we're winning," Cade said softly. "For now," Myra replied. He smiled. "You've changed, so have you," she said. He chuckled. "True. A week ago, you handed me a coffee and told me to log staff biometrics. And you let me believe you were the intern," she added. "I wanted to see your true self." Cade said, "Now I've seen it." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Mira spoke, voice strong. We stopped 3 threats. But others will come. They'll try harder, send smarter spies, maybe even use better tech. Cade looked up at the stars. Let them come. Meanwhile, far beyond the solar system, inside a dark ship drifting in deep space, a figure stood before. A large screen dot, it showed Earth glowing bright, protected by the Aegis shield. A voice echoed in the darkness. They resist. Another voice answered. Then we adapt. The screen faded. The war was far from over, but Earth had proven one thing. Humanity fights back. The Earth looked calm from space, but under the surface, the battle had already begun. Inside Orion systems, final upgrades to Project Aegis were almost complete. The shield was working, the orbiting satellites were watching, and the stolen alien tech had been locked down, but Cade Rell and Dr. Mira Callan both knew it wasn't enough. The enemy was still out there, and they were getting smarter. Cade entered the main command center with a firm step. The room was full of screens showing satellite feeds, energy flows, and alerts. Engineers worked silently. Everyone understood the importance of their mission now. Status? He asked. A young officer turned to him. Aegis running at 94% power. Orbital grid holding. No new alien signals. Good, Cade said, then looked at Mira, who stood across the room. Time to begin the final test. Mira nodded. We'll try to overload the shield system, just like the Valakar might do. If it holds, we can be sure Earth is protected. She turned to her team. Begin simulation. A countdown started. Outside Earth's orbit, one of the Aegis satellites brightened. It began to fire controlled energy pulses at another satellite, simulating a heavy attack. Lights blinked red across the screens. Shield response level? Cade asked. Rising fast, one engineer replied. Energy balancing system is stable. But then, a new signal appeared. Wait, Mira said. What's that? A small red dot blinked on the map near one of the upper shield towers. Unidentified object, the officer said. Too small to be a ship, moving fast, looks like a probe. In a flash, the command room changed from test mode to real. Alert. Cade walked closer to the map. Where did it come from? Unknown. It wasn't in space scans 5 minutes ago, the analyst replied. Mira stared at the screen. Could it have been cloaked? Yes, Cade said. Or launched. From inside our orbit. That was worse. It meant the enemy might still have a presence nearby. Send a drone to intercept, Cade ordered. And shut down the simulation. We focus on this now. The drone reached the small probe within minutes. A live video feed showed. The object up close, it was spinning slowly, black and covered in strange carvings. Valakar symbols, Mira said. It's one of theirs. The drone scanned it. Minimal power. But it's transmitting something. Block the signal, Cade said. Too late, the officer replied. It already sent a burst before we reached it. To where? Mira asked. The answer came quickly. To somewhere on Earth. All screens turned red. Aegis detected a sudden energy spike in Sector 19, an underground chamber inside. Orion systems used to power the backup cores. Cade and Mira looked at each other. They're here again, he said. They grabbed their gear and ran for the lifts. In Sector 19, alarms blared as doors slammed shut. Emergency lights flashed red. Mira and Cade entered the chamber, followed by 2 security bots. The room was massive. Giant tubes filled with liquid plasma hummed softly. In the center, something moved. A tall figure in silver armor stood over the backup core. Another Valakar, but different. Its armor looked stronger. Its eyes glowed bright orange. Cade whispered, "That's not an infiltrator. That's a warrior." The alien turned and saw them. Without warning, it attacked. The fight began fast. Cade rolled to the left, firing his pulse weapon. The alien dodged and swung a glowing blade, cutting through metal like paper. Sparks flew. Mira ducked behind a console, and activated the defense grid. A blue shield appeared around the room, locking it down. "We can't let it reach the core," she shouted. The alien charged again, smashing through a security bot. Its armor absorbed most of the firepower. "We need a stronger hit," Cade said. "Myra, can you use the core's energy?" She nodded. "I'll try." Myra crawled across the floor to the control station. Her fingers flew across the keys. If she could reroute power from the core into the local defense units, it might be enough to weaken the Valakar. The alien turned toward her, sensing danger. Cade jumped in front of it, drawing its focus. He punched a shock disc to the ground, sending an electric wave across the floor. The Valakar stumbled. "Now, Myra!" he yelled. She activated the transfer. The lights in the chamber flickered, then flared bright. The defense units glowed blue. Cade's gloves charged with new power. He ran at the alien. Their clash was loud, fierce. One final blow, Cade punched the alien in the chest with full force. The armor cracked. Sparks exploded. The Valakar staggered back and fell. Silence. Myra rushed to Cade. "You okay?" she asked. He nodded, breathing hard. "You did it," she smiled. "No, we did it." They looked at the fallen warrior. It was still alive but unmoving. "Take it to holding," Cade told the bots. "We'll study it. Maybe learn something new." Back in the control room, Cade and Myra stood over the updated map. The signal from the alien probe had failed. The attack had failed. Aegis remained strong. But more importantly, they had proved something. "We stopped a full warrior-class Valakar," Myra said. "Using human tech." "Not just tech," Cade said. "Human thinking. Adaptation. Fast response. That's our real strength." She looked at him. "Our edge," he nodded. "Exactly." That evening, they stood once again in the observation tower. The stars above twinkled. Aegis satellites glowed like a protective ring around Earth. "We still have a long road ahead," Myra said. "Yes," Cade replied. "But today we held the line." He looked at her. "When you walked in that first day, I didn't expect this." She laughed lightly. "Neither did I just thought you were an intern," he smiled. "And now you're leading Earth's defense systems," she shrugged. "You're not a bad mentor." He looked serious. "You're more than that. Now you're the future." They stood in silence, side by side, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, enemies waited. But Earth was ready. The final day had come. Earth's sky was calm, but beneath that calm, the tension was heavy. The Valakar were preparing one last strike. Project Aegis was fully operational. The shield surrounded Earth like an invisible wall, its energy pulsing. Softly. But the enemy had not given up. In the deep halls of Orion Systems, Dr. Mira Callan stood with Cade Rell and their team. The room was crowded, filled with engineers, security agents, and commanders. "Today," Cade said, voice steady, "we face the greatest test. The Valakar will try to break through our defenses. They will send their strongest warriors and smartest spies, but we will not fail." Myra looked around. Her heart beat fast, but she felt ready. "The system is set," she said. "Our drones and satellites are watching every inch of space. Aegis will detect any threat immediately." Cade smiled. "And will be ready to respond." Suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashed, multiple incoming ships detected. The control officer shouted. The screen showed dozens of dark shapes rushing toward Earth's orbit. "They're here," Cade said. "Outside Earth's atmosphere." The Valakar fleet advanced. Their ships were sleek and dangerous, armed with energy weapons and cloaking technology. But Earth was ready. The Aegis satellites fired powerful energy bursts, targeting the enemy ships. Explosions lit up space as ships were hit and destroyed. But the enemy did not stop. Back inside Orion Systems, Myra watched the battle unfold on the big screen. "This is worse than we thought," she said. "Focus on the shield control," Cade said. Keep the power flowing. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. The shield absorbed heavy attacks, but cracks began to form in some sectors. We need more energy, she said. Cade nodded. Use the fusion relay backup. Mira activated the backup system. Power surged through the shield. The cracks closed. The shield pulsed stronger than before. In space, a Valakar ship broke through the outer defense and headed straight for the Earth's surface. Cade and Mira exchanged looks. Cade said, I'll intercept. You keep the shield up. He grabbed his gear and ran toward the hangar. Outside, Cade boarded a fast interceptor ship. The engines roared as he raced after the enemy. The Valakar pilot was skilled, weaving through debris and firing energy blasts. Kept close, dodging attacks and firing back. The chase ended near the upper atmosphere. Cade fired a powerful pulse cannon. The enemy ship exploded in a bright flash. Back inside Orion Systems, Mira monitored the shield. Suddenly, a warning flashed. Internal sabotage detected. She looked shocked. Someone inside the system was trying to destroy Aegis from within. Myra, find the source. Cade's voice came over the comm. She worked fast. The trace led to a hidden terminal in the deepest basement. She ran down the stairs. In the basement, she found a man in a dark cloak. He turned. A stranger, but with a cold, dangerous smile. You shouldn't have come here, he said. I'm stopping you, Mira said firmly. He laughed. You think you can stop what has already begun? They fought. The stranger moved fast, but Myra used her quick mind and knowledge of the system. She threw a small device on the ground. It exploded in a flash of light. The man stumbled, giving her time to lock him in a force field cage. Back upstairs, Cade and the team cheered. The system was safe. Later, Myra and Cade stood outside, looking at the night sky. We did it, she said softly. For now, Cade replied. The universe is big. We must stay ready, Myra smiled. Whatever comes next, we face it together, Cade nodded. Together. The stars shone bright above them. And humanity stood tall, ready for the future.